Hello, everybody. Good to see your smiling faces. Okay, let's get started. Please make the mudra for the mandala offering. Here is the great earth, filled with the smell of incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, the four continents, wearing a jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayame. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, to the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration on wisdom. May I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration on wisdom. May I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration on wisdom, I will attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. Okay, let's do some rejoicing. We'll start at the bottom of my screen. Alexander's up first.
Yeah, hi, Venerable Sumati. I'm rejoicing that I finished some important documentation for a colleague on short notice. He needed it for his boss, but he was not capable to do it, so I did it for him, and yeah, I'm dedicating this for to have also help when I need it in the future. Yeah.
Very good. And that's exactly how you should. You're all beginning to get the idea of why we're doing rejoicing. It's rejoicing in the fact that we know the past is the present is the future. It's okay. It's okay rejoicing to do it because it feels good or you know you've done something nice for somebody. But when you put it into the context of how it's going to affect your life by affecting others, that's what we're looking for. So very good. Though, of course, the problem is if his boss finds out that you did it instead of him. But I guess that's something he has to worry about. Did you show him
I
how to do what you did, or did you just do it?
I just did it for him, but I think it's okay for the boss. He just wants to see the results, so it doesn't matter who did it. And so
What do you do? What
a documentation of some interfaces, and he had not really the technical background to do this, but he was requested by his boss. So yeah. So
technical?
I
What
mm,
what's the actual project?
um it's integration of different applications, so IT applications,
Oh,
and data flow between these systems. So yeah, I had to
well,
document this for him. And
over my head.
mm,
I don't understand any of that.
mm,
Okay. Well,
yeah,
very good.
mm,
Okay.
okay, thank
Well,
you.
there's your lovely wife. We'll
Mm.
go with Cornelia next.
Thank you, Venerable Sumati. And today, also, this weekend there will be DMA 11 in Vienna. So today I cleaned the outside of our house. We have some guests from the Sangha. And so I have the feeling that I have served the Holy Lang or Holy Sangha to create a welcoming atmosphere.
Oh, very good. Who's going to stay with you?
For example, Eva Balzer. Do you know
Uh-huh.
her?
I've met her. I don't know her very well, but excellent. So does Maximilian have to give up his bedroom for her?
No. Maximilian is sleeping with in the parents' bed.
Ah, well, good for him. Okay, excellent. Okay, Anna, do you have anything you can rejoice in? I guess not. Okay. Evgeny.
Всем здравствуйте. Я хочу
Hello,
порадоваться
everyone.
такой истории,
I would
которая
like to
произошла
rejoice
примерно
such story,
дней 5
which
назад.
happened around
Я
5
зашел в
days
магазин,
ago. I came to the
и когда
shop,
я завершил все свои
and
покупки,
when I
мы
finished all
разговаривали с
purchases,
продавщицей,
we were
и она
talking with
сказала,
a
что у нее есть
salesperson,
проблема,
and she
и
told that
дочь
she
не
has a
может найти
problem,
работу.
that her daughter can't
И я
find a
сказал, у
job,
меня есть
and
решение,
I told
но
her
оно,
that I
скажем
have
так,
a solution,
нестандартное.
but it is
Я
not
рассказал ей про
standard
4
one.
шага,
I told her about
она
4
все
steps.
записала,
She wrote down
сфотографировала и
everything,
отправила дочери.
took
И
a
я
photo
ушел.
and sent a
И
photo
буквально
to her
через час я
daughter.
вернулся в
And
этот же
just
магазин.
in an
Я
hour, I
что-то забыл
returned to this
купить.
shop. I
И
forgot
она
something
говорит,
to
что
buy,
ее дочь
and
уже
she was
нашла
talking that
работу. Ну,
her
то есть через
daughter
час я вернулся, и
already
уже результат
found a
есть.
job. Just in an hour, I returned, and she has a result already.
Wow. Wow. Excellent. Who says karma has to take a long time to ripen? That's really great. Okay. Okay, that's Evgeny. Mike, Mr. Hoffman, you're next. You look like you're in a coffee shop.
He wrote in chat he can't unmute,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's very loud. But I rejoice that the weather in Baltimore is cooling down and it's not 100 degrees anymore. I rejoice that the environment is becoming more comfortable and enjoyable for everyone.
Yeah, it's going to start snowing soon. Oh, good. Yeah, it's something we take for granted, the weather. Whether it's hot or cold or windy or not. We just kind of go along because most of us don't. Well, I think I can say this. Most of us don't live in extreme weather. I mean, it gets hot in Arizona, but it's not like it's 120 degrees or something. But we do we. I think people are going to take the weather more seriously now that there's global warming, climate change. That's going to be interesting. Okay, Katya, you're next on my matrix here.
Hi, hello everybody. I rejoice that yesterday I ran a marathon and I win first place age group and I win some money and I'm going to use it to go to Medicine Buddha and yes, and I dedicate it so that everybody can have the opportunities to do virtuous things.
Wow. We're in the presence of someone who won. How long was the marathon?
42 kilometers,
Is that 20 miles?
26.
Oh, that's right, 26 miles.
Yes.
Wow. How many people were in it?
I think 1,000 people.
And you won it?
Yeah, but by age group, it's for
Oh.
age group, yes.
Oh, I see. Well, that's still, I'm very impressed. And to think I'll be having lunch with Katya
Yes.
in a couple of weeks. We're going to a Indian restaurant that's at a gas station. It's is the Indian. There are a lot of Indian truck drivers and long haul truck drivers, and the entrepreneurial Indian restaurateurs have come to this country, and they have Indian restaurants along the major trucking routes, separated by maybe a couple of hours. So the Indian drivers can have good Indian food. So you get a kick out of these guys. Every time we go there to eat, we say, well, we'd like to try the mild. And they go, you don't want the mild. He wags his finger and says, no, you want not the mild. So I just find it very, and the gentleman's wife is very charming. So it's really fun to eat there. So we're going to go there. Okay, who's next? Avilda.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. To see you all. Oh, a funny rejoice. I had a mouse last night. I was very tired. Very long day and very tired. Went to bed early, sleeping for about 2 hours, and then this running little noise, little feet in my room. There was a mouse in my room that woke me up, and I didn't know whether he was in my room or in the ceiling in the attic. And I woke up, put on the light, couldn't fall back to sleep until 3 o'clock in the morning to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. However, as the karma of a mouse annoying me and not letting me sleep, I use that opportunity to continue my studies. I'm not going to waste this time. I'm not going to watch TV. I listen to the teachings because class 4 was a little bit technical for me. To memorize all that stuff was not that easy and palatable for me. And I had to get it more in me and understanding it. So I listened to you. I listened to Geshe Michael. I read the readings. I read my notes. I read their notes. I still have problems with it. But however, all night, 3 hours long, just studying and listening. And then I finally just put on the sound, the teachings, and I fell asleep to the teachings.
Wow.
I do that once in a while. I really like doing that. Just instead of listening to a TV show, I listen to the teachings and I fall asleep.
Wow.
And so I rejoice that an obstacle are not obstacles, but benefits if we so choose to see it differently. And we have the karma to see it differently. So I was very grateful for the little mouse to wake me and give me no sleep so that I could study better and understand better. So another 3 hours after I woke up. Again, I did like 2 or 3 hours again, listening, again reading. And I think I finally understand, the different eras and the different things. And I did the homework, so I just have to put in the quiz this afternoon and I'll be done with it.
Good for you. You're teaching. One of the joys my wife and I both really like doing is seeing what something happens and realizing that's a teaching. We have a lot of fun doing that. Okay, Anna, there you are. Do you have anything to rejoice in?
Yes, I will do my rejoicing. Hello, everyone. Hello, Venerable Sumati. Thank you for opportunity. about my happiness today. I'm visiting my mom and my dog. I try to help them to figure out some troubles. And I'm very glad that I found time and found possibility to come to visit them and help. That's my rejoicing for today.
Well, good for you. Good for you. Looking for opportunities to help others, especially powerful karmic objects. Okay, who's next? Lydia, you're next.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening. Nice to see you all. Today, I'm rejoicing that I met with a young lady online. She was asking me about 4 steps. And then she said that she is from Buddhist family. And I said, wow. And she said that she is looking for more information. And I sent the link for Classic Wisdom Academy. And so I hope that she will start teaching with Geshe Michael, Maria, and Peter Myrtle.
Wow, very good. That's a wonderful feeling, isn't it? To know that you've introduced somebody, you've given them the opportunity. That's wonderful. How old is this person?
I don't know. I just seen her first time.
Well, I rejoice all the time about the students that are learning this material in their 20s. And I met Geshe Michael in 2000, round numbers. So I was 47. Yeah. So that's fairly young, but think of meeting the Dharma like Lydia, you're probably 25. So, okay, 26. Okay.
No, I'm 36.
36. Oh, well, you're a lovely 36. So, but meeting the Dharma at 36, I was 11 years younger than I did. So, very good. Okay. Tatiana, what do you have to rejoice
in? Добрый вечер.
Good
Всем
evening, everyone. Dear Lama Samati and
Я
everyone.
опять растерялась, чему
And
радоваться.
I also again
Вот вспомнила такую вещь.
like lost what to rejoice about.
Я была в чате своего
I
коллеги
remembered such a thing
бывшего,
that
вот,
I
он
was in a
выучился на
chat of
юриста.
my
И
previous
там зашла
colleague.
речь
He
о
studied as a lawyer,
правильной
and
пище,
there was a
как бы
discussion about
полезной пище.
healthy
Вот. И женщина
nutrition.
мне написала, что
And the
пригласила
woman
в свой
wrote to
чат,
me
где они
that
ищут
she invited me to her chat
варианты
where they are looking
кушать,
for options
ой, не кушать, а излечение без лекарств.
to recover without medicine.
И я рассказала
And I
про
told them about
досточтимую Кадрин и про
Venerable
Лену
Kadrin
Аронов.
and
И мне
Elena
попросили
Aronov.
ссылки. И я
And they
с 2
asked me
днями
about links,
готовилась
and I
на
shared
марафон эффект
today
бабочки
with
и на
this
марафон,
in a marathon of
мини-марафон по
butterfly
здоровью.
and mini marathon
Вот.
about
Я очень
health.
рада и надеюсь,
And
что
I'm very happy about it, and I
эти
hope
семена соединения
that these seeds
хорошие.
of connection are good. Thank you.
Good. Very good. By the way, I like your nails. That's a nice color. Your fingernails. Okay. Daria, you're next.
Good morning, Venerable Sumati. I'm rejoice to hear a lot of rejoice people, and today I thought, what about I could rejoice. It's very difficult because I hear a lot of suffering. War. It's not Ukraine. It's Russian war. How it's people that died. How in Gerald's arm would do, and it's for me. I'm not angry, maybe a little bit angry stay, but I say stopped and tried do Tonglen. And my mother, she's my big karmic partner, always say, look, you look this suffering and this suffering. And maybe past I thought, oh, I was very angry, but now I say, no, stopped. You can do Tonglen, you can help these people only, maybe this, but how? I don't know how it's help, how can do for these people, for not people. I saw animals suffering. It's a lot of living being suffering when we were.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have a. That's one of the. Oh, that makes me very sad that I can't just go and stop this war. In Yemen, the attacks on ships, the terrible drought and starvation and war. I look at some of the stuff we do in this country that's like the Oscars. We spend millions of dollars on these awards for films when there are people starving around the world. We spend an embarrassing amount of money on political campaigns. Tens, hundreds, $500 million on a political campaign. Now, of course, that money's going to the sign makers and stuff like that. But that gets me as close as I get to depressed, which isn't very close. All you can do is do the best you can, setting the seeds you want to see ripen, and hopefully that can become a collective endeavor. Okay, Svetlana.
Hello, Venerable Sumati. Hello, everyone. Today, I would like to rejoice that I started to pay attention to my physical body, as like you told one time from Lama Sarani, like that if I don't want to do something, that it means that I should do it. So I went to the gym and had the like trainings with a trainer, and it's so magic that fitness gym is called Spirit Fitness, and it's like in orange color, and it motivates me to work on my physical body, to be able to meditate, to have more energy, and etc. So I think it's all interconnected in some way. So I try to do what I was not good almost at all, and rejoice in this effort.
Oh, good for you. That's a big step. What do I do now that I don't like, but I do it anyway? I can't think of anything now. I did yoga for 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days. And at the end of 3-year retreat, I said, that's it. So I don't do yoga anymore. Shows how mature I am. But I do shoulder stand. I was actually getting fairly good at the trivial. Oh, anyway. Okay, so is that everybody? I think it is, except for me. Well, I'm going to confess that I stayed up all night working on trying to get a cell phone which I didn't have. I turned it off incorrectly and it did a hard reset. So I needed to get a password, which I had no idea. This is an old phone. I had no idea where the password was. So this is about midnight. So I called into one of the phone companies thinking it might be 24/7, and they weren't. And so about 1 o'clock, I said, okay, there's got to be a way to do this. So at 2 o'clock, I was getting closer. At 3 o'clock, I just said, I'm going to stay up and get this finished. Then I had to turn all the lights out in my room so my wife didn't get upset because she was teaching early in the morning. She had to get up at 4. So I surreptitiously turned all my lights off except for the phone. And I did it. I was able to crack the phone and get a new password. And so now I have, what we want to do is not take our full up cell phones with us to Spain. We want to take one that will have WeChat or WhatsApp on it and very little else. So we don't get charged a lot of spurious phone charges. So now I have 2 phones. So I'm disappointed that I stayed up, but I'm thrilled to death that I was able to fix the phone. That's pretty cool. Okay. So here we are in class 5. I'm just going to do a real quick review for where we are. The fact that the name of the sutra never occurs in the sutra, the importance of saying it is the Diamond Cutter Sutra. It's not the Diamond Sutra. Subhuti's first question. Hi, Maximilian. What do you have to say? What do you have to rejoice in, Maximilian?
He just says hello.
Oh, hello back.
Hello.
Someone who's trying to be a bodhisattva, a spiritual warrior, trying to reach total enlightenment for the sake of every living being. How should they live? How should they practice? How should they think? And Lord Buddha's answer is the entire Diamond Cutter Sutra. They should think, I will bring to nirvana every single living being. When they do so, there will not be any living being at all that was brought to their total nirvana. And as long as we think we can bring anybody to total nirvana, then we are no bodhisattva. They should practice the 6 perfections. But if they practice the 6 perfections without wisdom, i.e., having seen emptiness directly, they're not practicing the 6 perfections. Practicing them with wisdom is what makes merit the virtue that will not wear out. And how to live, the 3 extraordinary trainings, the 3 baskets, morality, concentration, and wisdom. I'm going to have to just take a break here. So I will be right back. Weird. There you go. Okay. Then Lord Buddha talks about the marks of a Buddha on a Buddha's exquisite body. Do they reveal that person as a Buddha? Are they real? No, the marks on a Buddha's body are not real. There are no marks on a Buddha or a Buddha's body, which is why you can call them the marks on the Buddha's body. Next are the parts of a Buddha. You practice the first 3.5 perfections with wisdom leads to the physical parts of the Buddha's body, and the last 2.5 lead to the mental parts. But all of this is implying there's something, there's an actual physical body self-existently. So next, Subhuti is like me. He's overwhelmed with the profundity of the teaching. That's a nice word, profundity of the teachings, and he gets worried that it will die out because no one will be able to explain it once Lord Buddha is gone. Oh, this is totally off the wall, but I just throw it out there. I like the word profundity. I think that sounds nice. There's a word, pulchritude. Pulchritude in the English language, pulchritude means very beautiful. So a word, pulchritude, is not a very pleasant word, it seems to me, but it's talking about something pleasant, beauty. So for some reason that popped into my mind. I have no idea why, but welcome to my life. So Subhuti's worried about the teachings will disappear. There are many of us that are worried when Geshe Michael passes on, what's going to happen to DCI, SCIM, all the translation, all the materials. It's a big, there's a big, incredibly big shoes to fill when he passes. So I don't know what's going to happen. I haven't heard anything. I'm not implying that he's ill or anything. I'm just saying that's something he has mentioned a little bit recently. So Lord Buddha reassures him with a description of the great bodhisattvas who will see no self-nature, no living being, no life, no person. So now Lord Buddha goes into a little geography lesson, which leads up to another description of the amount of merit. There are 3 levels of world systems in the Buddhist cosmology. And that brings up, I don't know if you've ever watched any of the scientific meetings that they've had with His Holiness. And I remember watching one where a bunch of physicists were talking to him, and they were saying, your cosmology, we know that the way the earth was formed is the Big Bang. And so your cosmology with Mount Meru and all these rings of mountains and oceans, they basically were saying it was silly. And His Holiness was just sitting there smiling because all the scientists 200 years ago said the world was flat, absolutely flat. Everybody knew it was flat. And now they're saying everybody knows the Big Bang is how it worked. I find that interesting. So there's a galaxy consisting of 1,000 inhabited planets. Then there's another galaxy consisting of 1,000 groups of 1,000 inhabited planets. And then a galaxy consisting of groups of 1,000 of 1,000 of 1,000 inhabited planets. So that'd be 1 billion planets. So our Buddha says to Subhuti, suppose you took the 7 precious substances. So here, you're going to get the 7 precious substances. I looked these up for you. The 7 precious substances are gold, silver, lapis, crystal, emerald, crimson pearl, and karkatana stone. And you notice the diamond's not in there. So again, gold, number 1, silver, number 2, lapis, number 3, crystal, number 4, emerald, number 5, crimson pearl, number 6, and karkatana stone, number 7. Now, karkatana stone is also known as cat's eye, the rarest of which is a variety of chrysoberyl called cymophane. When certain gemstones are cut into a convex form and highly polished, they show a luminescent line reminiscent of a cat's eye. And that's why they're called cat's eye. So now you know. So if someone asks you the 7 precious substances, you can tell them. Suppose you took these 7 precious substances, enough to cover all the planets of a long Chempo, 1,000 groups of 1,000 groups of 1,000 groups of planets. Would that create a lot of merit, Subhuti? Subhuti says, well, yes, it would. That would be quite a lot of merit. But because the great mountains of merit are great mountains of merit that could never exist, which is the reason that one's kindness can speak of great mountains of merit. And Lord Buddha says, to confuse the issue even more, consider the act of reading a verse from the Diamond Cutter Sutra, or reciting it, or memorizing it, or teaching it to someone else. Would that be more merit than offering 1 billion worlds worth of precious substances? Reading or teaching in the Diamond Cutter Sutras, infinitely greater merit, much more powerful to read a verse of the sutra than to make offerings of huge mounds of precious substances. The point being that if we obtain an act of giving, if we do an act of giving with the understanding of emptiness, that wisdom makes that act of giving a direct line to enlightenment. Even the tiny act of giving a piece of bread to a bird with the understanding of emptiness is a direct cause for our enlightenment. Giving 1 billion planets worth of jewels with devotion to a holy being is not a direct cause for enlightenment. It is a great goodness, but how could you make it a direct cause? You've heard of the Paratul Chimpa, gone to the far side, gone to the other side of perfection. What does this really mean? If you come to the Heart Sutra teaching in Spain, I'm going to try to rememorize the Heart Sutra in Tibetan and recite it. So that's an incentive to come to Spain. What does he gone to the other side, gone to perfection? What does it really mean? How are those acts different when they're done with wisdom versus not done with wisdom? Can we actually give with wisdom? Since I haven't gone to the other side yet, the act of giving cannot be a perfection yet because I cannot do it perfectly. It takes being totally enlightened to be perfect, having abandoned the 2 obstacles and in their entirety, all negative and obstacles to omniscience. So how can we call the 6 perfections perfections, since they are the tool for getting you to total enlightenment? Does every act of the 6 perfections get you to perfection? No, you can give something and have that giving not be a cause for your enlightenment. Lord Buddha said blind people who do not have eyeballs, 1 trillion of them could never find the road, much less the city of destination. If we do not have the perfection of wisdom, doing the first 5 perfections, we are like a blind person and you cannot get to Buddhahood. So what does it mean to get perfection of wisdom? And how do we reach it if it takes the other 5 to get and we cannot have or do the other 5 without it? We're going to talk about this in a later class. It's a dilemma. So how do we start the practice of making our own attempts at the 6 perfections lead us to wisdom so I can really practice perfections? We do these activities with the intention of reaching our enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. Even a wimpy intention can change the karmic imprint dramatically. Geshe Michael gives the example of giving a piece of bread to a bird. You can either throw the seed out and say, here's some bird seed or bread and walk away. Or you can think, I'm doing this not just to feed the bird, but so that I can someday bring that being to their total nirvana. It makes it a powerful tool. It makes helping you get to the other side. So the six perfections have three levels. The first level is the one that gets us there. The second level is one of being a thing. And the third level is one that is sort of like one of the prajna paramitas, because at least we had the bodhicitta intention, bodhisattva intention to reach enlightenment while doing the deed. So how do we move from the first level of perfection of giving to the third level? This is where the three spheres. Have any of you heard of the three spheres? Yeah, this is where the three spheres come in. There are two ways to list the three components of three spheres in the act of giving. The gift, in this case, a piece of bread for the bird. The recipient, in this case, the bird. And the act of giving, actually giving the bread to the bird. This is going to sound strange. I still don't know if I get it after all these years. But doing your act without seeing the three components as self-existent, and your act is being done with the understanding of emptiness, is very powerful. So to think of the bread as not self-existent, what does that mean? The lower school would say this bread was made by someone as its cause. The next highest level says the bread comes from yeast and wheat and baking in an oven. Its causes and conditions, the sum of its parts. The highest school says the bread depends on my projections onto certain data forced by my karma to call it bread. So there's no no bread out there on its own, from its own side. It comes from my past deeds. So big deal, the bird eats it. Whether or not we know we have it as a mental image, certain data forced on me by my past karma to call it bread. So why do we have a mental image of bread onto that data? If the bread is something good, pleasant, then it is the karmic result of the goodness that we did. Knowing its pleasant breadness comes from our own past deeds, increases the power of the karmic imprint of the deed. So you need to know this about the bread, the bird, and your act of giving as you do it. Now we have an act we can call perfection at our level. Because now I just made a cause for my own enlightenment, seeing things with wisdom and dependent origination all at the same time. So you can give the piece of bread to the bird without thinking about it, and that's a pleasant result. You get to see the bird be happy for getting some food. But if you just keep the laws of karma in mind, that's where we need to remember that it's two sides of a coin analogy, karma and emptiness. To understand or believe in karma without knowing why karma works or how to use the knowledge of it just keeps us on the worldly path in samsara. So I had a situation in my life. I don't know, I can't keep track of the stories I tell, but so I had the feeling. I came in one day and I had an email from my boss that said, I need to see you at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And I thought, I'm getting fired. For some reason, I just knew I was getting fired. So I called my wife and I said, dear, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get fired. She said, well, what are you going to do about it? And I said, I'm going to look at through the lens of the three spheres. So I went in, and sure enough, I was being let go. So there was my boss, there was me, and there was the business manager in the room. So there was my boss who was going to fire me. I was a recipient of that karma ripening. And then there was a business manager who wasn't involved at all. he may have even, I knew him pretty well, so he wasn't happy I was getting fired. But I was getting fired for something that was, I'm going to say it, and it's going to sound strange, but it wasn't my fault. One of my coworkers I was in charge of making sure all the samples, what we did in that lab was we took bags of dried material from South America, shamans, and they'd harvest plants that were good for, let's say, diabetes. And we take the plant tissue and isolate the compounds, trying to test them for their use in the pharmaceutical industry in this country. And so there were lots of samples, and we had to keep track of them. And one of the samples went missing. And so I was blamed for it going missing, which is not unreasonable since I was the manager. So I asked everybody if they knew where the sample was, and they all said no. Later, before I was fired, I found out that a scientist she really liked and thought a lot of had hidden the sample in his desk area so he could work on it without interruption. So I knew this when I went in to get fired. And I could have, this is where the wisdom comes in. I could have said, well, I don't remember his name, hid the sample. I didn't. I asked where it was and no one told me so. So is it really my fault? I could have said that, but I didn't because I knew that my karma was ripening to have my boss be mad at me. My karma had ripened to have this individual hide the sample. My karma was ripening for the business manager to be there. And my karma was ripening for me to be fired. So the three spheres is understanding that my karma for her being my boss and how she acted, my karma for the business manager to be there and how he reacted, and my karma for how I reacted. So I didn't blame anybody. I simply accepted responsibility, apologized. I didn't think I was going to save myself my job, and I didn't. But so I put into practice what I'd been taught, not just not getting mad. I mean, that'd be good. That's the first level. The second level was not thinking that this wasn't my fault. And the third level is putting that all together and realizing I did something in the past that caused great discomfort to other people in terms of a job and firing or a job and hiding a sample. And that's what was ripening now at the moment. Instead of saying, you, after all the hard work I've done, you're firing me, that's not fair. That's what I would have done 20 years earlier. But because I've been studying the Dharma, I knew where it was all coming from. And so and that's what got me out to Diamond Mountain to help build Diamond Mountain. So was it a bad thing I got fired? Depends on what you think of Diamond Mountain. If you like Diamond Mountain, it's a good thing I got fired. If you don't like Diamond Mountain, I don't want to hear about it. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So this is why I changed the refuge prayer to perfection of giving. With the seeing emptiness. So the three levels of the giving. I will give so I will be sure to have enough in the future. I will give so I can reach my enlightenment and help other beings ultimately someday. This is what the Lord Buddha says we call paramita. Then level 3, the bread is empty, the bird is empty, the act is empty, empty of coming from their own side. My past deeds have created this experience. Knowing this, my current deeds can be creating my enlightenment. Knowing this, we can approach the yelling boss situation, or in my case, blame for things without allowing me to explain. So, what actually are the 3 spheres in that situation? Me, my boss, and my being fired or asked to resign. My reaction to all of this? Realizing that the karma ripening from blaming someone else in my past for something they did not do, and not being willing to listen to an explanation. I did not argue, I accepted my fate. And we remained good friends. She was from Brazil, really very talented scientist. So back to the bird. So to feed the bird with wisdom would be something like this. Geshe Michael would say, hey, you and me together will reach enlightenment someday. And I know how, because you're empty, I'm empty, this whole situation is empty. So just thinking of this makes what I'm about to do a cause for my enlightenment. So I can bring your enlightenment to you. So here, eat. So giving the bread to the bird is going to be a cause for my enlightenment. Is there a connection between the two? How can these 2 events be related? For a relationship to occur, 2 things must be happening. The 2 objects have to be separate things. The 2 objects must exist. There are 2 ways things can be related. There's a relationship of identity. In his example, set and subset, his example here is Chevrolet and Corvette. The relationship of cause and effect. By the time a result occurs, the cause must have been destroyed. By the time an acorn becomes an oak tree, there is no acorn left. So this begs the question. Karma and its consequences cannot be related because they're not existing simultaneously. One of them does not exist at any given time. In the example of feeding the birds, the action giving the bread and the result Buddhahood are separate, but they're not existing at the same time. Can we have an effect, a result, that do not have a cause? No. Can we have an effect, a cause, the cause is gone? Yes, that happens all the time. And in fact, cause has to be gone in order for the result to occur. So, what does this mean? Choni Lama comes up with a punchline. Technically, by the time total enlightenment has occurred, its causes are past. They're non-existent. If the causes are still existing, then the consequences of it, the results, are yet to come, and therefore it does not exist either. The general sense that there is cause and effect because time itself is empty. How is time empty? How is time not self-existent? Because it has parts, past, present, and future. Time is our own projection, shifting, and nothing else but that. Moments of awareness tied together. So back to the question, do karma and consequences exist? When an action exists, the consequences is the consequence is yet to come. and in that sense does not exist yet. If the consequent has arrived, the karma that caused it is past, and therefore it doesn't exist. So how do we conceptualize it? How does karma and its consequences exist and have a relationship of cause and effect? The cause for reaching total enlightenment, the causes for reaching total enlightenment are gone at the point where we reach total enlightenment. So how does this all fit into the order of the six perfections? 1 through 5 lead to the sixth. The one we said, none of them are perfections until we have achieved number 6. So how can we get to number 6 if we are not really doing number 1 through 5 properly? Choni Lama saves the day. It is true that it takes the wisdom of emptiness to make the perfections truly perfections. But it's also true, the Buddha said, we can call our acts of perfection. We can call our acts perfection if you're doing them with intention to reach enlightenment. This is because you have this intention that makes the deed you do have similarity with real perfection. Once a bodhisattva reaches their direct perception of emptiness, they have reached the first bodhisattva bhumi, which is the level of perfecting the first perfection. They then go through each bhumi or bodhisattva level, which are marked by extraordinary ability to do 6 perfections. So, we see the heavy-duty goodness of trying to do the first 6 perfections with wisdom in order to actually achieve the 6th perfection, reaching the direct perception of emptiness. The beauty of the Diamond Cutter Sutra is that it teaches emptiness. It teaches us how to reach our total enlightenment as infinitely more valuable than a billion planets covered in precious gems. Choni Lama has a caveat to something that is said in the sutra. It is not a big deal at all to hold this book in your hand or read the verse. He thinks what Lord Buddha said means trying to grasp its meaning. So Geshe Michael closes class. What do we need to do to reach the direct perception of emptiness? You must collect the 5 perfections at least with the attitude of doing. So to get enlightened for the benefit of all beings. So every time you do one of the 6 perfections, you need to think, I'm doing this to set the seeds for my enlightenment. So even the tiniest good deed or the tiniest bad deed grows, as we all know. The beauty of the Diamond Cutter Sutra is that it teaches emptiness and teaches us how to reach our total enlightenment. That's more valuable than a billion planets covered in precious gems. So, you must collect the 5 perfections. Number 2, you must study intensely and meditate daily. Study becomes broad and continual. That's how the ACI courses are formatted. You have class, you contemplate, and you meditate. Most important is Guru Yoga. You must find a teacher that fits your particular personality and needs. You must get close to them, no matter where they are, and serve them, take care of them, devote yourself to them. Whatever they need done, just do it. The magic of this relationship, the power of this relationship, is a goodness that will drag you to your direct perception of emptiness. I had the incredible good fortune to oversee and participate in the building of the Diamond Mountain Retreat Center, making sure the cabins were built to code, making sure the water supply was safe, to fulfill one of my teacher's many dreams. Besides marrying my lovely wife, my time at Diamond Mountain was the highlight of my life to date. Because every day I was doing something that my teacher wanted to have done. I was doing it, following his instructions, and it annoyed some people because they had their idea of what Geshe Michael wanted done. I had my idea. And Geshe Michael and Lama Christie trusted me. Well, here's an example. A donor gave $100,000, pledged $100,000 for the water system, for the cabins. And there were those among us that wanted to take that money and invest in capital equipment like a backhoe. Well, that was going to be $40,000. So the remaining 60. So I stepped up, and knowing nothing about water systems, I stepped up and said, I'll take it on, Geshe Michael. If you'll give me the contact information, I will contact the donor. Geshe Michael wanted to get all 100,000 right away. And I said to the donor, here's what I suggest. I suggest that I send you requisitions. Here's phase one. I need this much money to buy this much pipe. And he gave me the money, and I bought the pipe. I sent him a report. We did this up through $80,000. Then he got remarried, and his new wife said, you're not giving another $20,000 to that retreat center. That's crazy. So he couldn't. So in a sense, that's where I was wrong. I should have gotten all 100,000 from him at the beginning. But because of all the work I'd done with the pure dedication of making this all work, I was able to find where we had spent $20,000 of the water system money in doing something for Diamond Mountain that we could get reimbursed. I was the bookkeeper. So it turned out that I was $20,000 short. And shortly after that, we found the $20,000 in a variety of different places. And I built that water system for exactly $100,000. So I got the karma of not only building it, but knowing I was building it to help everybody in the retreat have safe water to drink and have it there coming out of a tap. And I did that not because I wanted to get known for it. I did it because my Lama needed someone to step up and do this. And he didn't know me from Adam, or did he? Because he trusted me with $100,000 and the responsibility for the water system. So I'll never forget that. That was part of the fun of being at Diamond Mountain. So the three spheres. So now when you feed a bird, or now when you feed your dog or cat, or now when you feed your mother or father or family, do it with the three spheres in mind and generate a tremendous amount of merit instead of just making dinner. Now that's something I get in the trap of all the time, because I don't think about making dinner until about 20 minutes before we eat. And I need to do a better job of seeing the three spheres and making the meals. So that's class for today. Let's dedicate. O Gurus, Buddhas, please listen to what I now say. Just as all the previous Sugatas generated the mind of enlightenment and practice in accordance with Bodhisattva precepts, so shall I too, in order to benefit all that lives, give birth to bodhicitta and follow its precepts. By the pureness of the power of my intentions, by the power of the blessings of those gone thus, by the power of the realm of emptiness, may all the goals that I may have, and all my wishes, whatever they may be, come true with perfect ease. In all my lives, may I never live apart from my perfect lamas. May I bask in the glory of the Dharma. May I fulfill perfectly every level and path, and reach then quickly the place where I become myself, the one who holds the diamond. Okay. Now, what can I give you as a homework? Oh, this is an obvious one. Please come up in the next 48 hours, I guess. Please come up with an example of the three spheres in your life. It's not too hard to do, so give it a shot. We'll discuss it again on Thursday. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to teach. I really enjoy it. It's good to see your smiling faces. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Please stay for a long, long time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you for teaching us. Please stay.
Okay. Talk me into it, at least for another 48 hours. Okay. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.